Hey everyone, it's Anthony Allen Ramos. Okay, so excited that $1 Million Listing New York is finally coming back May 6th at 9 on Bravo with the OG, Fredrik Eklund, of course. But guess what? Not only is he in New York, he's double dipping, going to be selling property with the $1 Million Listing LA Boys as well, which will be coming this summer. So, Fredrik, I mean, just to add one more thing onto your plate, I mean, you're a dad, you're a husband, now you're
A
going to be
twin
selling.
dad.
Exactly. So wait, so doing both, okay, LA and New York. Now, did this kind of come out because of the situation that we saw, obviously, with the pandemic in New York happening, and you kind of basically did kind of get stuck in LA for a bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I moved to LA about almost 2 years ago, but I'm always say I'm bi-coastal, so I go back and forth a lot. And I think, I am the OG of New York. I feel like
Yeah.
I am Mr. New York. It is my brand. I have a big business there. I have 50 people working for me there. But now when I'm in LA as well, why not do both? I think the tricky part was, of course, going back and forth during the pandemic, because if you recall, we weren't even allowed to travel. It was like illegal to do real estate, and we weren't, I wasn't able to get there to film. So what we did, and I don't want to give out too much, is that we filmed exactly that. The real, the reality of me trying to get to New York, being so frustrated, pulling my hair out as my clients were screaming, like, where is Fredrik and why isn't anything selling in New York? So it's going to be exciting to watch. And I think that's why people love our show, because we film everything. We even filmed the pandemic and, the difficulties of it.
Yeah, and thinking about, I can't believe it because I am a total Bravo holic, and I can't believe season 9 of
I know. I'm so
$1
old
in
now,
New York. I mean, did you
No,
ever think? I mean, your life has got to be so different now. Obviously, married and with twins and everything. But I mean, like just when you got this, when you did the show in season, I think it was what 2010 or something. It must have.
we started in December 2010. It didn't air until 2012, but yeah, it's been 10 years.
I
We
mean,
didn't know. Of course, we didn't know. I mean, listen, I always say, because it's something that I wanted to do. I was very excited about the opportunity and very grateful. But everybody told me, like, don't do it, Fredrik, because it was an untried. Yes, we had the show in LA, but people told me in the industry, like, you don't want to do that because there are certain things in real estate you don't want to show. And by the way, at that time, the real estate agent per se wasn't somebody that was like, I'm here and I'm in the spotlight. It was the property first, and the agent, if anything, was behind the property and very like hard to get almost. And I was like, no, I'm going to change that with this format, because I think what's so interesting is, it's a competitive world. There's 60,000 brokers in Manhattan alone. And how do you stick out? How do you get into people's like living rooms? How do you get to people's heads when they're about to sell or gonna buy? And I thought it would be a great opportunity. And you can't please everybody. So some people will be annoyed with me. Some people would think maybe I am too eccentric or too colorful or whatever they're gonna say. But it certainly helped my business. And I had no idea 10 days later that the ratings still are crazy high. It airs everywhere internationally, and we're allowed to evolve, like you said, being a dad, growing businesses left and right, and sharing all of that. And even now bi-coastal, who would have known?
I mean, I can't wait to see you with the Joshes and everything in LA. But thinking
Oh
about,
God, I am roughing the feathers, like I am. Whew.
I know, I can only imagine. Thinking about, obviously this season with $1 Million Listing New York, obviously so much centered around the group of you figuring it out with this pandemic and COVID. You and your husband, I think, have been together for what, 8? Or how many years have you been married? 7 or 8 or something like around there?
We have we actually celebrated our 10th year last year, and now we're going into 11. We've been married for 8.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's right. Married for 8, but together for 11. How did this time of the pandemic, affect your relationship? Because on one hand, it's so nice that you have a partner and a husband to be in this with, but also like I know being locked together can be tricky too. So how did you all handle that?
It was actually really nice. I think that as a twin parent, I have a lot of guilt all the time that you're not enough and that you're always behind when it comes to the kids. So to be the 4 of us plus, a nanny or 2, locked up, especially in my case, traveling a lot and always, on going left and right to New York. It was actually really nice, and all that guilt kind of disappeared. And I feel like the silver lining, I think, is the best thing about 2020 and the pandemic, which is a very difficult, hard year for a lot of people. I enjoyed it. I have to say, I admit, because I got to be with my kids. Derek and I were like really present, and it was a perfect age too, because they just turned 3 and like they're so freaking cute, and they have a lot of energy. But they, it was a great time. Yeah. And I think when it comes to Derek and me, I'm just so like, I always say he's my rock. He's my, as we say in Swedish, he's my person. He's my husband, but he's my person. And to go through something like that, the pandemic, and all the difficulties with him by my side has been amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and thinking about that, it's so nice that we get to see that story of you and your children and your husband as part of the show too.
We met the first season, the last episode, the finale of the first season. Derek and I sat in Central Park. We had just started dating. Yeah.
See, Bravo brings you together. I love that.
I guess.
But I think it's important to talk. You've been, like I said, you've been on TV for 10 years. Obviously, a very visible, out and proud person. And what has it been like to see some of the fans, connect with you, and also I'm sure reach out to you and say, how much it means to them to see someone like yourself on TV and being so successful and, going through the challenges of trying to want a family and all of that.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that. I don't think about it too often, as in like the things that I do is not to, I'm just sharing my life. I think when we had those miscarriages and I share that openly, I unknown to me, it's such a sensitive subject. I knew it was sensitive, but I didn't know how much sort of stigma and how much people don't talk about that. It wasn't even my body, obviously, and I still was so devastated, and so I took it so personally in many ways, and there was like something kind of shameful about it. And then when I shared it, is the point, a lot of people, I guess especially women, but men too, like really reached out and said that was inspiring. The same thing with the sobriety now, when I decided to, stop drinking and share that kind of openly. Just the response was, I guess, is still incredible. But I don't, I think our show is different because I'm a real estate agent. I never viewed myself as a celebrity or even a reality TV star, because we don't perform, right? We just like, I sell real estate, and every episode, every scene is based in, the properties. So yes, the show covers us, the miscarriages, the kids, our relationships, our friendships, our kids, but it's real estate. So I never viewed myself as like an inspiration in that sense.
Well, I think you definitely are. And I think, you brought up your sobriety, which I know you've been open about talking about on Instagram and more. And I think it's important to talk about that, because for our community, the LGBTQ community, addiction and getting sober can be tricky, and it can be super important for people too. So tell me a little bit about, for you, I think when you posted on Instagram, it was 160 days. And I think, we don't have to count numbers, but I think that is something to be very proud of. So tell me about your decision and why you wanted to kind of just, not drink anymore and just, take this, step.
Well, it has a lot to do with fatherhood. When you have kids, do you have kids, by the way?
I have 2 dogs, but maybe one day.
Okay, so you're a dad basically. But I think when we had kids, it became like I drank to relax after work, like here and there, and it's just not something that I wanted to do. It was time. I'm 44. No, I'm turning 44 on Monday. And my birthday's coming up. That's why I look so confused. And it was time. It was time. And I wanted to be. I can't afford it anymore. Like I want to be like fresh at work. I want to be present as a dad. And it was just. It was time for something new. That was 190 days, I think, ago. And I feel, I think, I don't know, I ask you, I look a lot better. I feel better. Everyone says I'm so much calmer. I don't know if that's good for reality TV, because that like crazy energy eccentricity is probably good for TV, but I'm much more calmer. I'm much more present. And, people like my family, Derek, my brother, everyone's like really, really, wow, it's a big difference. So I'm really, really proud of it. It hasn't been easy, but yeah, it was the best decision I made.
Well, congratulations, and power to you with continued success. Because yeah, I think it's
Thank
important.
you.
Yeah, and I think I think for us in the community and beyond, it's like it's so easy just to get so caught up in it, and then when we have people like yourself saying like, no, I did it, and I feel better, and I'm happy, and I think it's inspiring. So
Well, it was kind of freeing because I think obviously when you do something like that and then go out with it, it's almost like, yes, I had a problem. And I admit that it became towards the end specifically like something I didn't want to do anymore. But then there's something kind of, you're not supposed to talk about it. Or when you do talk about it, it's like, did you have a problem? So it was
right,
something that I felt was actually very freeing to say it and to put it out there and just like, there's nothing, especially I think because I'm in a conservative sort of real estate world, and you're not maybe supposed to share those things. I'm just going to do it. That's me. So but that wasn't an easy decision either to like, I had written what I shared on my iPhone in the notes section. And I had Derek read it and he's like, yeah, there's nothing bad about it. Just share it, put it out there. So that's what I did.
what advice would you have for anyone that might be struggling a little bit and maybe thinking about trying to get sober, or to make the step, but have maybe are a little apprehensive to do so? What would you say to them?
Well, don't do it alone, as in like, just talk to your parents, your loved ones, your kids, like just like it's nothing shameful about it. And then day by day, the first 2-3 weeks are difficult because it's it's an addictive substance and you're like, it's so ingrained in society. I'm saying that with a smile because now when I don't drink, I don't even think about it anymore unless I talk to someone like yourself about it. And I'm so, it's behind me. But in the very beginning, you have these habits and you go to restaurants with friends and everyone around you, just realize like at every menu, every bar, like it's everywhere, TV. So just day by day. And I think the best thing is to there's something about 30, 60, and 90 days, which is really true. Like the 30 days, it's a little foggy and like you're detoxing. 60 days, you're like, oh, is this what it is? And then 90 days, it feels completely different. So just stay in there.
Awesome.
Keep it up.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that.
You're
And I can
welcome.
think about trying to do all that and getting ready for your two shows. So let's talk about the two shows, because May 6th,
Uh-oh.
$1 Million Listing New York. So I'm thinking about it like with Ryan and Steve, and then we go to LA, and then
Which is your favorite? Is it New York or LA? Be honest.
so I think honestly, New York is my favorite because being from LA, I feel like I see a lot of LA, but New York for me, I don't get to New York as much. So it was like in the beginning, it was so great to kind of see New York and all of that. But my question is like how do you handle like, because there's so much personality with the two casts, and is there competition between the two?
Yeah,
And
it's very different.
you're kind of in the middle of both.
Yeah, I mean, this all happened kind of organically and very fast, as in like I was filming New York, I was moving, COVID hit, like then we started filming LA. I think that they are very different. And I say that out of love for both cities. I do feel like both of them are home. It took a long time to feel that in LA, and that's going to play out on that season, which will take a while until it airs. But I definitely am the underdog in LA, and I have to pay my dues here. Like I'm starting over. I mean, I'm not, because I'm Fredrik and people know me as the real estate guy from New York. So it's like, I'm not, I didn't get off the shrimp boat yesterday, but I do have to prove myself here. And that's not easy for someone like myself with a big ego, right? So I have to like really work it. In New York, it's a little different because I am the top dog. Yes, Ryan, I am. And I will always be. But there it's interesting because now I have to protect that turf. Like as in they're all saying, oh, Fredrik left, so here we're gonna take his business. So I have been feeling a little bit attacked on all fronts. And as it relates to the show, that's gonna play out. I think it's interesting. I mean, the viewers will definitely see a different kind of Fredrik because it's not gonna be easy for me on either show. I'm gonna be the punching bag on both, okay?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm here for a double dose of Fredrik, everyone. I mean, it's going to be great. Just a reminder, $1 Million Listing New York, season 9, May 6th at 9 on Bravo with this gentleman right here. And then in the summer, we'll have the next version with $1 Million Listing Los Angeles with more Fredrik. So it's the
I
year
know,
of
it's great.
Fredrik.
I'll be
I'm
on
here for
TV
it.
for like a full year every Thursday.